Hi, how are you? I'm Anthony from Cypher Escape, and I'm back with video number 3 of the Cryptex Puzzle Hunt. The Cryptex Puzzle Hunt is a unique yearly puzzle hunt that celebrates International Cryptex Day on March 1st. The puzzle hunt is geared towards beginners, and it's always presented in a very different form. If you've seen my other videos on the Cryptex Puzzle Hunt, you know that this year's hunt was based in an escape room game jam. And you should also know that as of the time that this video is going to go live, you still have 1 week available to you to finish this puzzle hunt if you want to be entered in for the random draw prize. You have to finish it by March 31st of 2021. So today I want to show you my live solve of the next 3 games within the Cryptex Puzzle Hunt. Okay, I'm starting my timer back up, and we're diving into game number 5, Haunted Cabin, written by Mike Collins. You wearily plod down a familiar street in your hometown, a ticket in one hand, a notebook in the other. You'd better not be late for your booking at the newest escape room in town. You've gathered a reputation for yourself as the meanest escape room reviewer in the country. Your blog has been the bane of 100 owners, and you've never given out 5 stars. It's not exactly something you're proud of, but it's a hook at least. You're in a small, sweaty, smelling lobby room. I'm gonna try going north into the alcove. You're in a small alcove, there's a janitor's closet to the east. There's a red light coming from underneath it. It appears to be locked and requires a key. Okay, so let's try going east into the spooky haunted cabin. You're in a dark space illuminated only by a couple of LED flame effect candles along the walls, and a television hissing with static in the top corner of the room. It's more sad than spooky. There is a note scrawled in blood on the wall. Oh, and there's some litter in the corner. Sigh. No one really cares for their rooms anymore. The puffy face of a miserable old gammon appears on the television screen. He sighs before reading a monotonous, dull message. You're all here for a weekend camping in the forest, but your car broke down. You're taking shelter in this cabin. You've heard spooky rumors about this place and children going missing or something. Whatever. You need to get out before... Oh crap, where did that last page go? He disappears off camera for a moment. The man returns, not looking too pleased. Whatever, shout out if you need the toilet. His face disappears from the screen. A timer showing 5750 briefly shows up and then glitches out to 2150, where it remains. Okay, so the smear is too hard to read in the dark room, but we might be able to make it out later. Every escape room must, by some strange consensus, have a concealed door, and this appears to be this one's. The bookcase is made up of cardboard books, clumsily glued together on a hinged section of wall. Okay, let's look at that book. You take the book from the bookcase. Wow, there's an RFID tag in the gap left in the shelf. Presumably something should go there, but they could have at least covered it up. Let's take a look at that litter in the corner. The only thing of particular substance within it is a half-eaten chocolate bar. Let's look at the cauldron. It's a black iron cauldron. Oh wait, no it isn't. It's a pound shop Halloween toy. Inside, it's filled with screwed up newspaper. You examine the newspaper and find a metal lockbox. You toss the newspaper into the litter in the corner. Another escape room, another thing, hidden in a thing where there's no reason for it to be in the thing. I love the tone of this game. This one is my favorite so far. It's locked with a 4-digit combination lock. Okay, so we have the chocolate bar. Can I eat the chocolate bar? This is melted in someone's pocket, and yet you still want to put it in your mouth? Oh well. Inside the chocolate bar, you find a battered metal key. I wonder if 2150 opens the lockbox. Enter 2150. Wow, you didn't even have to decipher anything for that one, just the number right there. Lazy. Oh well, at least it's open now. Inside is a small candle, which you take. You know the score. Find item, take item, use item, repeat. This candle has an RFID tag on the bottom. They could have at least painted over it. Can I place the candle on the bookcase? You pop the candle into the bookcase. RFID tag to tag. A tiny flutter of anticipation stirs you for a moment. You're not all that surprised when it swings open to reveal a secret room. Okay, so I can now go south into the secret room. The only clue that this is peripherally related to the story is a bench upon which lies a series of jars filled with gross-looking stuff. There's also a knackered-looking broom in the corner. A closed window is to the west, and you can return to the cabin to the north. It's a collection of plastic jars on a shelf, each of which has been labeled with something vaguely spooky. The handwriting is awful, but you can make out the following labels: Eye of newt, 300 grams, toe of frog, 100 grams, wool of bat, 200 grams, tongue of dog, 400 grams. You're not sure what those things would actually look like in real life, but the contents look gross. They appear to be too tight to open. Someone has clumsily carved some runes on a square brushed floor broom. Also, there's an electric motor tied to the base for some reason. Looking through the window, you can see another room painted to look like a forest. Out of reach, there's a dial-style padlock looped through a slot and holding the window shut. Someone has neglected to actually click the lock shut, though. You could probably just open it if you wanted to. So can I open lock? So it's out of reach, so can I use like the broom or something to reach it? You don't have to do that. You don't want to do that, and it would be futile. Okay, I'm not quite sure what I'm doing next. Oh, I was able to just open the window? What? It said that there was a lock that was out of reach, so I was trying to reach the lock. You clamber through the window, your knees protesting, and into the space beyond. You're in a forest scene. Dark trees have been painted on the brick walls. Twinkly LEDs shine like stars on the ceiling. On the ground is a freshly dug grave and a tree stump resting against the back wall. The plastic skeleton hand is holding a scrap of paper. The paper reads Spell of Escapement. To charge the cleaning implement of conveyance, tap the handle on ingredients in correct order. Say the magic word abracadabra. Okay, so I need to go tap the broom handle on the ingredients in the correct order. Tap broom on toe. Tap broom on toe of frog. I can't. Why can't I? Use broom on toe of frog. Can I do tap handle on toe of frog? I don't understand. Okay, I finally found the correct commands to use to tap the broom on the ingredients. I just type tap and then the ingredient. Okay, so let's tap toe of frog, tap wool of bat, tap eye of newt, and tap tongue of dog. Now say abracadabra. Your broom starts to hum as the little electric motor starts up. With your broom charged up, you can exit through the forest portal, no refunds. You climb through the tree stump to find yourself back in the lobby. You've escaped, you suppose. There's no one there waiting with your time, no closure to the story. It all just sort of happened. A flush of hot anger warms your cheeks, and you decisively pull out your notebook and start scribbling furiously. Not worth the price of admission, or any price for that matter. Lazy, badly thought out, and maintained poor service. -2 stars. That's odd. The door out is still locked. Kiki, welcome to your own personal hell. You didn't survive that road accident earlier. It was me, Satan. I was driving the van. I killed you, and now you're stuck in here forever. After all the escape rooms you doomed with your 2- and 3-star reviews, this is the least you deserve. I hope you enjoy solving the same puzzle over and over again for eternity. Well, this is unacceptable. You have dinner booked at the new hipster burger place in town, and you'll never be able to make the reservation if you're dead and in hell. Okay, so can I go north, and now can I unlock the janitor's closet? You're disappointed to find a rather boring janitor's closet, save for the large sigil on the floor. The torch has a little purple bulb in it. Clicking it on and off, it appears to be powered. Memories of dozens of rooms where you've had to find the batteries for one of these assails you. Wow, that's a very specific type of grease. Shine torch on smear. Ah, You turn on the torch and shine it at the note. You see a sentence, but what could it mean, and why on earth is it here? Didn't you already solve the room? Say magic word. So if I say abracadabra, that didn't work. Say please is the magic word. No, that didn't work. Say magic word. Can I just say magic word? The voice says something about page 172. Read page 172. Gather the following and mix in pot at center of power. That which produces bark but not leaves. So that's the stump. That which flies but without feather. Blood of critic. I need my own blood? As you read this, ouch, you've given yourself a nasty paper cut. A steady stream of little red drops runs from your finger and pools in the palm of your hand. Your heart stammering, you squeeze a few drops of your precious life juice into the cauldron. A bat flies without feather. Can I use grease on jars? Place bat in cauldron. And then I'm guessing actually the thing that produces bark but no leaves isn't the stump, but is the dog. Place dog in cauldron. Place cauldron on sigil. This is the worst room review of your life, and you've never felt so alive. The disgusting concoction combines in the bottom of the cauldron, coming to a frothy bubble. You take a step back nervously. When bang, there's a mighty and unexpected explosion, and the back wall has shattered to reveal an adjoining room. Inside is a pinched, sweaty little man who's colored his face in red with felt tip and stuck 2 little plastic horns on his head. Why? He asks plaintively. You've sunk 2 of my rooms already with your bloody reviews. No one wants to go to a 2-star escape room, not even corporate gigs. You know I didn't kill you, yeah? I'm not the actual devil. You nod gently. You feel almost like it would be rubbing it in at this stage to say you'd already seen through the ruse, particularly as one of his horns has just dropped off. I was late coming to the room today, and when I was driving over and saw you, I just saw red and took a swing at you with the van. I stopped myself at the last minute, though. I thought I'd just keep you locked up in here for today. I was going to let you out after, I swear. It's Stan, right? I have been reviewing escape rooms for years, and this was without a doubt the worst one I've ever done. Your puzzles were thin on the ground, frustrating and irrelevant in complexity. Your story was non-existent and inconsistent. Your set and props were transparent and tacky. Every element of the design and experience was a robbery of both my time and money as a customer. I have never feared for my life, felt so trapped, or been blown up before today. Thank you, Stan. That was truly a wonderful experience. You won. Need a brilliant idea? You really should listen to a slightly modified version of this game recorded on the Infinite Escape Room podcast. Okay, so it took me about an hour and 2 minutes to get through the escape room portion of this. So I guess I'm going to take a break for now, and I'm going to try to solve this puzzle hunt puzzle in a little bit. Okay, I'm back on the haunted cabin game. This is the next day. I did listen last night to the podcast that was filmed about this episode. So I listened to this podcast because I assumed there was going to be some kind of clue in it somewhere. And there were a couple of notable differences between this version of the game and the version that was played on that podcast, as well as some just weird things that happened. I don't know for sure what piece of that podcast was necessary, so I think I'm going to try a couple of these. The first thing that was weird was that the number for the lockbox was different. So I doubt this is going to do anything because the lockbox is already open, but let me just try enter 3315. You enter in the combo, but the lockbox doesn't open. One of the other things that they did, or that they suggested doing, was counting the number of pages in the witch's spellbook. Okay, so it doesn't look like I can count the pages in the spellbook. Okay, the only other things that I have written down here are some weird things that Errol did during the podcast, and I don't know if they programmed in one of these things as an Easter egg in the game, maybe. I mean, I've listened to a number of podcasts that Errol's been on, and I know that any of these could just be something that Errol did. So I don't know if any of these are related. But one thing is he tried to tickle the lockbox. For some reason you acquire a Cryptex from that? Are you kidding? That was it. Okay, well, I don't know what to set the Cryptex to. There were a couple of other things on this list. This grave is a fresh mound of manure. Errol tried to taste the manure. You can't. Errol also tried to eat most of these jars, I think. Taste jars. Lick jars. So at this point, when it says to say the magic word, Errol said Totoro instead of abracadabra or anything like that, so I'm going to try saying Totoro. So I don't know where to get this code for the Cryptex. I did just remember that Errol also tried sweeping this sigil. So maybe use broom on sigil. You don't have to do that. Sweep sigil. It does say brilliant idea in a different color here. I don't know if that's important. Actually, I can go to the point where Errol tickled the lockbox and check my guess. My guess is that maybe someone said that's a brilliant idea. My concern is that there were more brilliant ideas. Maybe I can set the Cryptex to Totoro? Oh my gosh, that was it. The Cryptex opens. You hear a little bird tweet to all creatures with hashtag tier cabin. Wait, I gotta go to Twitter now? How deep does this puzzle go? I just listened to an hour-long escape room podcast.
Ooh, I got a brilliant idea.
What's your brilliant idea?
Okay. Tickle the lockbox.
Okay, I just confirmed that because I was suspecting that brilliant was colored that way for a reason, but I didn't notice it before listening to the podcast. I was suspecting that was an indicator of what the important actions were, and they did just say, that's a brilliant idea, let's tickle the lockbox, or Errol said that. So did he say something similar with Totoro?
Ooh, I got a brilliant idea.
What?
Totoro!
Okay, so yeah, the brilliant idea thing was the indicator for the parts of the podcast. Okay, so now, let's go to Twitter, I guess? Okay, I'm on Twitter now, looking at the hashtag tier cabin. Tier stands for the Infinite Escape Room, which is that podcast that we listened to earlier. And there's definitely some tweets from Errol here from March 3rd. Is that the day that this puzzle was released? Okay, can I sort by latest? Okay, for the record, this is the final tier cabin tweet, don't believe the fakers. So that means I need to scroll back and read everything before that, I guess? Sorry the recording went so long, Errol. What a dog's breakfast that was. Can't believe you remembered those clues. You know what they say, though, an elephant never forgets. But that was a maze. Isn't it rats who are really good in mazes? Okay, so these all have an animal in them? We have dog, elephant, rat. You're thinking of iguanas. Surely not. In my head, they're near the bottom of the brain scale, and then at the top, it's us and dolphins. No way, eels are the top. They're the smartest. That's why they're so slippery. Okay, and then that's the last one. So what are these animals? Dog? Do I need just the first letter of these? Dog, elephant, rat, iguana, dolphin, and eel. That spells deride, so I'm guessing deride is the final answer to this puzzle. Yes, it looks like deride is in fact the final answer to this puzzle. Wow, what an insanely deep puzzle that was. That one felt like a significant step up from all the other ones in the series so far. So in addition to whatever time it took me to finish the base game and the hour that I didn't record myself listening to the podcast, it's taken me about 20 additional minutes to get through everything after listening to the podcast. Okay, I'm jumping in on puzzle number 6, and today's a little bit interesting because I've mostly been solving these puzzles in the afternoon, the day after they're released. This is the first time that I'm here at the drop of the puzzle, just around 8 o'clock in the evening on Thursday. So I'm jumping into puzzle number 6. This one is The Bamboo Forest, written by Mira Ramdenberg. This isn't just any bamboo forest. This forest saved my life as a child. You are in a clearing in the bamboo forest. A ray of light peeks through the tall branches. Let's start by going north. You see a pile of dirt. You're at the end of the trail. An old stone fountain sits in the center of a clearing, and beside it is a pile of bamboo. I wonder if this is the Fountain of Sleuth. Someone must have wanted to use these bamboo poles for something. It looks like you can grab a pole. You are on a forest path. It looks like from here the trail disappears. You better go back or you'll get lost without a map. You can see a steel axe. To the west we see a small stone table which has a bowl of miso soup in it. We also see a manual. This seems to be an instrument crafting manual. It reads, to create instrument, cut bamboo, then tie with twine. Cut bamboo pole. You cut the bamboo pole. You are at the end of the trail. There is a koi fish pond. There are 4 koi fish in the pond. These koi fish have been around since you were a kid. The sign describes species of koi fish. Okay. So I think we're going to need to identify these koi fish to maybe get a 4-digit number. So this first koi fish is black with red spots. It could be this red and black fish. The next one is white with a red spot. White with red spot on the head is number 7. It's the tancho. Next is white with red spots. That's probably number 6, the kohaku. And lastly, we have just a yellow one. It could be this one that's entirely orange, the kigoi. You are on a forest path. A gate blocks your way to the east. It's a numeric lock with 4 numbers. So we're going to set 4768. The lock doesn't budge. It must be incorrect. I just saw there are black specks on this third fish here. So the third one is probably number 2. 4728. You enter the code. The lock clicks and unlatches. Beyond the gate, you see a deer. You're at a shrine. Let's look at the twine. Just an old piece of twine. Let's take it. So I need to tie with twine. You tie the chopped bamboo with twine and create an instrument. Can I go back and play where that musical note was on the fountain? You play the instrument. A bamboo shoot appears from above and water flows out into the fountain. At the base of the fountain, a scroll appears. I don't know how I typed that. Did I type that? How did I do that? Well, let's X scroll. You open the scroll. It's a map of the bamboo forest. Wow, Grandpa was right. The forest is massive. It looks like if you start at the clearing of the forest, go south 2 blocks, east 1 block, and south a few more times, there's something waiting for you. So from the clearing, I go south, south, and then east and south a few more times. You are in a bamboo forest. There's a door to the south. You also see a shovel. There's a music note on the door, so what happens if I play here? It may want a more specific tune. To play a note on your instrument, type play $sign. Oh, there's a pile of dirt here. Let's dig here. You dig and find a coin. Oh, can I throw it in the well? Throw coin in fountain? You throw the coin into the fountain, it makes a splash and sinks to the bottom. Make a wish. You make a wish. Let me go back to the door and try to see if I can play this tune. So I think it's like 8764 or maybe 8754. The door swings open. Light pours out from the door. You enter the door. The light nearly blinds you. The gate, the clearing, the table, the clearing, the gate. Okay, let me write that down. I visited those places, Grandpa. And what did you see? What did you hear? Did it musically inspire you? You've solved the bamboo forest. Wow, that was probably the fastest game that I've solved so far. It only took me like 20 minutes to get through the game. Okay, one of my teammates is actually pretty far ahead of me on this one. So what they figured out is that in the clearing here is a ray of light, and that's one of the music notes, as in do, re, mi. The table has miso soup. Okay, so if we go to the shrine and we remember that our grandfather told us gate, which had the do, which is a deer, clearing, which had the ray of light, table, which had mi and then so, soup, and then clearing and gate again, we get a series of notes. So the order goes do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, with do being number 1. So we should be able to play 1, 2, 3, 5, 2, 1. The urn turns. Oh, I see. The urn has letters on it as I play. So let me try again. So when I played 1, I get an A. N. Is that a G? L. E. Angled. Angled looks like it's the final answer to this puzzle. And checking, sure enough, angled is the correct final answer. Okay, now we're checking out game number 8, The Wizard's Tower by Nathan De Silva. You're in your quarters. There is a bed, a nightstand next to it. You're terribly tired and desperately want to sleep. Okay, let's take the candle. The study has a desk. The wooden desk takes up most of the room. You find a rag in one of the drawers. There's a small hole in the wall. You see a key inside. You're in the observatory. There's a large telescope and a map on the wall. The large star map of the visible sky. It's a large telescope on a tripod. It's far too dirty to see through. The entrance has a bookcase and a mirror. To the west is your lab, and a trapdoor leads to the cellar. The bookcase has an orb on it. There are many old books of various sizes. You see one book with a blue spine sitting on the top shelf. The orb looks familiar. It's firmly stuck in place. There was an orb in the very first game. I wonder if that's important. The book is a wrinkly guide to sleeping potions. Type use book ? To turn to the section of the book where the question marks represent your star sign. You see an old man in the mirror with a white beard and tired baggy eyes, and a lizard's on his head. You forgot that was there. You gently pick the lizard off your head and put him in your bag. The lab has a table with many potions ingredients. Above it on the wall is a piece of parchment. There's also a fireplace here on which is a brass plaque, and beside it is a strange plant. There's an array of ingredients on the table perfect for brewing potions. Cauldron's cold, you should light the fire first. Let's look at the parchment. It reads Alchemy Basics. Each of the ingredients before you has 3 key properties. Type, what kind of material it is. Solubility color, what color it will make the solution when dissolved. Acidity, how it will affect the acidity of the solution. There's a plaque on the fireplace. It reads acidometry. This plant is used to measure the acidity of the fumes coming off the cauldron. If the acidity is above 8, the plant will shrivel. If it's above 5, it will close. If it is above 2, the leaves will wilt. Oh, there's also a flask. Oh, can I use my lizard to get in the hole? The lizard scurries into the hole and grabs the key, and swallows it. He comes back out and greets you. This was not part of the plan. You hold the lizard away from you firmly with 2 hands and proceed to squeeze the lizard's torso repeatedly until it regurgitates the key, and now you have a slimy key. Can I unlock the cellar door? You use the key on the trap door. The cellar is dark and musky. A couple barrels of ale. You fill an empty flask with ale. The telescope's too dirty, so can I use rag on telescope? You try to use your rag to clean the telescope, but the dry rag only spreads the dirt around, if that. Maybe if you wet the rag first, it would work. Can I wet the rag with the ale? The rag soaks up some of the ale from the flask. It's now damp and smells like ale. Can I clean the telescope now? The moist rag works well at cleaning the dirt off the telescope. Perhaps now you can see through it. Okay, you gaze through the telescope and see some beautiful stars many billions of kilometers away. As you gaze at them, you recall that you actually see light from the closest and brightest ones first. And I think I'm looking up here, and I think I need to order them by brightness. So that's going to be A-L-D-E-R? Alder? Can I use book Alder? You look through the book. To brew a sleeping potion for an alder, you need to keep the following in mind. The brew must be conducted at a high temperature. The acidity must be between 3 and 5. The solution must contain at least 2 different herbs. The solution must be purple. The solution must not have more than 1 of the same ingredient. How do I turn on the cauldron? I do have a candle. Okay, I poured the ale on the fireplace. And now I lit the fireplace. Good. I'm back ready to try my luck on the Wizard's Tower game again. Spent about 15 minutes on this yesterday and then ran out of time for recording, so I'm picking it up again today, and hopefully I can finish the game and solve the puzzle. I think I've already settled the temperature requirement by lighting the cauldron. Well, this is embarrassing. It appears that whatever button I just pressed in that video stopped the recording from recording the rest of my solve of this puzzle. I just now noticed it. I'm not all the way through the puzzle, but I am several steps ahead of where I was in that video. So I'm really sorry that I didn't get to capture that live. So when you try to use the cauldron, you get this list of ingredients, and it shows their type as well as their color and their acidity. Initially, I had thought that I was going to have to put each ingredient in one at a time and slowly gather this information. So it's pretty cool that they give the information directly here. I knew that I wanted a purple solution with acidity between 3 and 5, and that I needed to use at least 2 herbs to do this. So I knew that I needed at least 1 red and 1 blue ingredient, and I knew that I didn't want this green, yellow, or black because those wouldn't contribute to purple. None of the blue ingredients are herbs, and we need at least 2 herbs. So I saw the only way to get 2 herbs was to use these 2 red ones, which increases our acidity to 6 right away. The lowest acidity blue thing that I can put in was this asp venom, which has 2 acid, which brings us up to 8 acidity. But we do have at least 2 herbs, and we have a purple potion. So what I did was I added the salt of hartshorn, because that doesn't affect color at all, and it just lowers acidity by 3. And these 4 ingredients together create the potion that we need in order to sleep. Once sleeping, you have a dream, and I can type remember dream here. You are in a place. It's not dark, but not bright. As you survey your surroundings, the earth shakes and moves, and you fall to the ground. As you look up, snow begins to fall. Struggling to your feet, a sound rings through the air. A tapping sound. Strange. I did eventually realize that we never used this orb that's on the bookcase here, and that the rest of the dream, shaking of the earth and then looking up and noticing snow starting to fall, that seems to reference a snow globe, which this orb could represent. They don't describe it as a snow globe in this game, but it could represent that. Now it says we hear a tapping sound, so I tried tapping on the orb and nothing happens, and that's as far as I made it while the recording had stopped. I don't know what to do with the rest of the dream information at this point. I did consider that this is the second time that this bookshelf, and particularly this orb, has shown up in one of these games, and this orb is actually referred to as a snow globe, or it's compared to a snow globe. In the other game I could fix orb. You don't need to in this game. However, if you need a hint for the first game, fixing the objects will give you uppercase words. Wow. Okay, so that's confirmation that the 2 games are at least slightly linked in terms of sprites that they're using. Oh, okay, I just tried shaking the bookcase, because the orb is mounted to the bookcase. You push against the bookcase, but it doesn't move. You shake it with more vigor. Fortunately, the books stay on it. So now can I tap the orb? You tap the orb 3 times, you hear a sound from below. Down in the cellar? Oh, there's a new room down there. There's a Cryptex. You are in a hidden room. There's lights flashing on my mini-map. Let me see if I can count the number of times that the candle flashes in each of these rooms. So it looks like it starts there. It flashes twice in that room. This is the study. Okay, so it flashed twice in here. That's probably the T. Okay, so first it flashes twice in the study, then twice in the bedroom, 5 times in the cauldron room, 4 times in the mirror room, 4 times in the telescope, and then 3 times in the mirror room. So I need to go and check the names of all these places, I think. The laboratory is what I called the cauldron room. We need the 5th letter. This spells turret, T-U-R-R-E-T, in the order that the candle was flashing. So I'm guessing I need to set Cryptex to turret. The Cryptex opens and a small scroll falls to the ground. This scroll was found in the Cryptex. It has alchemical symbols. Okay, so when I click on it, I get a list of alchemical symbols. Okay, so there's a few X's on the overlap of some of these symbols. I'm guessing it's going to be a letter that all of these share in common, and these 5 letters are going to spell out an answer. So like this theta symbol is salt. The bull with horns is bismuth. And then this triangle with 3 legs is philosopher's sulfur. So is there one letter that all 3 of those have? They all have an S, and that's it. So that first letter I'm thinking is an S. So now what about letters that philosopher's sulfur and bismuth share with earth? They both have an H. So I'm thinking an H is the next letter here. Now what does philosopher's sulfur and earth share with sublimate of antimony? They all have an E in them. So we have S-H-E, sublimate of antimony, earth, and black sulfur. What do they have in common? They all have an A. Finally, what does black sulfur, sublimate of antimony, and fire have in common? I don't see any letter that all 3 of these have in common. Oh, they all have an F. I'm an idiot. Sheaf is the final answer to this puzzle, I'm guessing. And yes, sheaf is correct. And with that, this 3-part series has covered my live solve of the first 7 games within this year's Cryptex Puzzle Hunt. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to capture my live solves of any of the other puzzles, though I have completed the puzzle hunt at this point, and I highly recommend that you go check out some of those puzzles that I didn't get to show in these videos, because they really are a lot of fun. So I want to give a big thanks to everybody who helped make this year's Cryptex Puzzle Hunt, including Dan Egner, Brent Mayer, Nathan De Silva, Mike Collins, Maya Ramdenberg, Sarah Wilson, Manda Whitney, David Lewis, Darren Miller, Errol Elamir, and Justin Nevins. As always, this year's Cryptex Hunt was a lot of fun. I thoroughly enjoyed myself the entire time that I was playing. Good luck to anybody out there who's still trying to finish the puzzle hunt by March 31st. You can do it, stick with it. Otherwise, that wraps it up from me. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Have a great day, and as always, happy escaping.